Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian, Pace Reporting live here at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola here in New York City. Tonight, Joey DeFrancesco is playing with the legendary Frank Wess, and Joey is sitting on top of the world right now. One, he's created a mini version of the Hammond B-3 called the KeyB, which he is promoting heavily all over the world. In addition to that, he's celebrating and on the heels of a Grammy nomination for his latest CD on High Note Records, which is a tribute to Michael Jackson. Congratulations on the Grammy nod for the tribute to Michael Jackson. Of all people in the whole wide world, because you've done tributes before, why did you decide to do a tribute to Michael Jackson?
Well, it's just music that I grew up loving, like we all did. And the band and I had been talking about doing it for some time. And, we just did it. It happened. And, he died a year before. When that happened, we got to do that tribute, man. This music, the love of this music, it's got to come out somehow in our own way, And so we did it, I took a shot and did it. We came out with I loved how it happened and the way it went down and the way the music turned out.
You and I are the same age, and I guess Michael has a very, very special meaning for everybody, including myself and yourself. What did Michael Jackson mean to you, and what does his legacy mean as far as musical and the gift that he gave to the world?
Well, when I was a kid, of course I'm a jazzer. I've been my whole life since I was 4 years old. Before that, I always liked it. But I liked all music that was good. And that music was good, and it had that element, of harmony. And just everything he did. Not only was he great artist, but when his whole entertaining, everything he did. And his legacy is important because he did great projects, he played great music, and that music will always, it's classic music. Those are like standards, those songs. And it'll live on, and there'll be generations of talking about that music. And I wanted to be a part of letting people know how important that music is, as a jazz artist embracing it,
Those songs that you chose, that process had to be very hard because you had the Jackson 5, then you had the Jacksons, and then you had the solo Michael, and then you had there was a part of the Jackson mystique that we don't talk about is the songwriting. We Are the World, right. Muscles for Diana Ross. There was the songwriting that he did that was very, very crucial too.
Absolutely. And when I thought about the music, I thought about the things that I really loved. And if you look at the record, you see that most of the songs are from Thriller, because that was the most important record to me at that time. And there were some others I wanted to do, but we just ran out of time as far as time on the record. I could do 10 Michael Jackson tributes and still not cover the tip of the iceberg of the music that he's covered, if you go all the way back, you know. But Never Can Say Goodbye is the tip of the hat to the Jackson 5 period. And then, of course, Rock With You, that's the off the wall, you know. And all those great songs from Thriller were just a great vehicle. I just had an idea of how I wanted to do them, and I knew they would work. And, you know, I didn't go too far away from the original arrangements on some of those songs, too. But we put solos and improvise. You know, there's more improvising going on in there. But you'll still hear it and recognize the song, and at the same time, it has the improvised element of jazz inside it. So everybody can be satisfied, I hope. If not, I don't care, because it was what I wanted to do, and I was going to do it anyway. But I hope they get it. Obviously, somebody got it. We got nominated, so.
Last time we talked about the diversity, and now you are promoting and you've helped create the KeyB. Yeah,
the diversity, basically, the technology was the KeyB. It was from Italy. It's the same engineer. I was working with Diversity at the time. I no longer work with them for almost 2 years now. I went directly with the engineers and the people that developed KeyB technology in Italy. So essentially, I didn't really change products. I went directly to the source. There's the KeyB, and there's also an instrument made by Studio Logic called a Pneuma organ, Joey DeFrancesco model, which is a single keyboard model too. So if you have to go make a quick gig or something and you got to get on the subway or something, you know, you can make a gig. So.
Tell me why you decided after so many years to just kind of come up with the technology for the Diversity or the KeyB.
Well, the problem is, I mean, the original is the original. That'll always be the king. That's, you know, I'm playing one tonight. But you had to have something that was new. They don't make those anymore that way. And I was very dissatisfied with anything else that they call them clones, you know, clones. And I met this gentleman, Elvio Previati, in Italy, and I heard what he was doing, and that was the closest thing that I ever heard, and it only needed a little bit of tweaking. And with my ears and his knowledge, us together, we came up with the real deal. I mean, you can't tell the difference between that and an original, and it's 50 pounds. You know, that helps a lot too.
So what is like Dr. Lonnie Smith or some of the other jazz organists? What did they think of the KeyB?
It's funny you mentioned Doctor, because he played the single and the double at the NAMM show in January, and he was going, "This is the deal, man! Somebody finally did this." You know, he loved it. I got pictures.
addition to you being nominated for a Grammy, you also are part of David Sanborn's trio. That's very interesting. How did he ask you to join his unit? And because David's music palette is so different than yours, how did it kind of work out?
Because really his palette, what we know him as, is one thing, but what he really digs, what he really likes, is not so much different than myself. And so, it was a while. I met him years ago, and then one night he came to a gig I was doing in Japan, and he says, I want to record with you. I want to do a record with you. So I said, all right, let's do it. So we did the record, and then I'd like to tour with you. Let's do it. Just kind of happened like that. And really, he gives me all the room I need to do whatever I got to do. Playing with him has been great. He's a great guy. He's a great player. I learned so much more about how musical he is, and it's just fantastic. It opened my mind up to a lot of other things.
Musically, you are at a real good space right now because you have learned from the masters. In fact, we just lost another recently. We just lost Trudy a couple months ago. You are now pretty much the dean of the next generation of organ players. What is it that you're seeing now with the future upcoming B3 players, and what would you like to see them as far as growth as musicianship, carrying this legacy on?
Well, there's a handful of guys. It's great. It's amazing to me. I remember when I was a young kid and I go see Jimmy Smith or Jack McDuff or Trudy or a lot of these people that I loved hearing and loved listening to. And now I got kids and people coming out, that are feeling that way about what I'm doing. I feel very honored about that, and I feel responsible that I have to, keep going and doing what I'm doing and keep the legacy going. And there's some great players playing now. There's I hear guys all the time, and it just. Each generation that Andy gets, those players were fantastic. They're the legends that created a lot of things. But now I created another style. There's influences of all the greats in there, but there's another level of harmony of what I'm doing it's up the ante a little bit with the players. You know what I mean? Can't mess around anymore. Years ago, you could get away with playing a good blues in F and get a record deal on Blue Note playing the organ, because that was what was happening. But it's a little bit, and that's great. I'm not putting that down. I love that, but it's just getting a little bit more. You better play that thing. No half-stepping.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola here at Jazz at Lincoln Center here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at Dizzy's, as well as Jazz at Lincoln Center, as well as special guests Frank Wess and Joey DeFrancesco for their time. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Until next time, peace.